Hey everybody, I'm Two-Tone.
And I'm Mitch the Peach.
Welcome back to the Hills Are Silent podcast, where we chop it up about games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Let's get into it. What's going on, Mitch?
Not too much lately, honestly. Been trying to finish some games, but I've hit a bit of a lull. There's been the game I'm playing currently. It's pretty long, so I'm here to talk to you today, though, about a card game that I've been playing. Free to play. It's called Marvel Snap, and it's on both the Steam store and it's on mobile devices. I play a lot on my iPhone, but I'll play here and there on Steam for the bigger screen. So, card game based on obviously Marvel villains and heroes. It's essentially it is. All the cards, they have different energy, abilities, and power levels. So the goal of winning is there's three locations, and each of these locations has their own ability, which could be, it could be a debuff, it could benefit you, but the goal is to win two of the three locations by having the most power on them. And so by playing all these heroes and villains that have their own abilities, they all have synergies. There's a lot of mixing and matching working against your opponent to try and win two of those locations. So it's pretty addicting. I mean, for me to get away from my favorite game, which is Hearthstone, my favorite card game, it's for me to actually dive in and regularly play another card game. They got to be doing something right.
Yeah. I have very little experience with card games. I think back in college, one of my buddies tried to get me into one of the card games he played. It wasn't Hearthstone, and I cannot remember what it was.
It's been like a Magic the Gathering, maybe, that they've put on line now.
I don't remember what it was. It wasn't Magic the Gathering. It wasn't Hearthstone. I don't know. It was some lesser-known one. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I just couldn't get into it. But I've never tried Hearthstone. I've never tried Marvel Snap. And I know there was a Witcher card game as well.
Gwent.
Yeah, Gwent.
They just shut down service for that. I guess it didn't do too well.
What?
I think they're not shutting down service, but they're not going to make any more updates to it.
Okay. Man, it's always sad to hear that games are abandoned.
Yeah, because Gwent was such a cool idea. I mean, it was one of the coolest things, side things to do in The Witcher 3 when I played that. So I thought it was neat that they just made a whole card game out of it in general. But if you're looking to get into a card game now, there's so many that are they're all kind of pay to win. They're free to play, but I mean, I've sunk a lot of, not a lot of money, but I've sunk some money into Hearthstone. So Marvel Snap would probably be the best one to get started since it's very new and there's not so many cards that you have to catch up with and try and, get to play with. But they are a little greedy with their money structure as far as trying to get people to purchase cards and whatnot. Taking a look at the costs between, I guess, the value between what I pay in Hearthstone to get cards or what I want compared to Marvel Snap, it's nuts. There was I think you could, there's they had a bundle for almost $100 for for stuff that I don't know, compared to Hearthstone, I feel like it would be half that.
Yeah, and is it real card packs where you don't know what you're gonna get?
So a lot of time it's what you're getting. They're it's certain. They'll give you the currency that you can use to. You basically the way you get new cards randomly is through a collector level is what they have. So as you play with certain cards in your deck, they get experience to a point where you can upgrade them. So these cards will look different when you upgrade them. So they'll have when they turn into a rare card, they'll have a animated background. And if you upgrade them again, their logo, where it says their name, Wolverine, will have a shiny logo. So as you upgrade the card, it looks It looks cooler when you play it in the game. But every time you upgrade the card, your collector level goes up. And as your collector level goes up, you get random cards and currency throughout your leveling. But that's all random. So you never know what card you're going to get. And a lot of times they don't give you the full thing to make the deck you're trying to make. So that's when people have tried to resort to going and buying, some of the bundles that they have where you can get specific cards. But with that, it's super expensive and not worth for me sinking any money into it.
So when you're playing Marvel Snap, are you typically just playing against the computer, or do you always go online for your matches?
Always go online. I don't think they have a computer option. It's always against somebody else.
Oh, okay, cool. What's your win to loss ratio? Do you know off the top of your head?
I feel like I'm probably about even at this point. They have a ranking system, and I'm in like gold, which is kind of middle of the pack. I've gotten up to platinum, which I feel like is very average. But again, I don't have a lot of the cards that I want to play with to like make, cooler decks, which may be even better than what I'm playing now. So that's kind of frustrating at times. Another cool thing though, like, how there's always there's variants within the Marvel universe. There's all different types of, Spider-Mans depending on what universe that you're in. The cool thing that they do is they have variants within this card game. So you could get, if you're leveling up your collector level, they'll give you a random variant of a card that you already have that has different art. So for instance, I got a Thor that was like a pixelated version of Thor instead of just like the basic art that they came with. So, or there's a baby variant. So I think there's like a baby Doctor Strange or something like that. I don't know, very cool, with the artwork that they did. So, I mean, overall, I like this game. I'm pretty addicted to it. But just frustrating of the randomness and I guess the amount of pay to win that they've kind of put into it.
Yeah. And do the variants have different stats, I'm assuming?
No, the variants are all just cosmetic.
Oh, okay.
So they don't have any value, but you can level those. So you can level up the base card to, like I said, you can level it up to get, shiny logo, animated background, and whatnot. But then your variants, you can also level those up separately. So it kind of helps when you get the variants because you can use those to level up them and get your collector level higher to get more random cards. So yeah, having more variants is cool because of the art style, but also it benefits you in the game. Yeah, but again, I mean, if you're a fan of the Marvel Universe, I definitely recommend giving it a try. I've highly enjoyed it. I've looped it into my card game rotation, so that says a lot. But yeah, that's I think that's all I've got for that one. What have you been playing now?
So it's been all handheld stuff lately. I'm on my Vita, per usual, my PlayStation Vita, and one game I've been playing a lot of recently is called Unit 13, and it's a third-person shooter. It's very generic, just military shooter, shooting military bad guys, cover-based. Nothing to really wow you with, but if you're just looking to shoot some stuff in short bursts when you're on the go, this is the game to play. The levels probably last anywhere between maybe 5 to 7 minutes tops, and there's several different approaches you can take. Like some levels are meant to be played stealthy, other ones are timed where you have to just get through them as fast as possible, and others are just standard levels where you just go through and do some objectives. You have different soldiers you can pick from, and the longer you play, especially with particular soldiers, the more stuff you unlock for them. You can unlock additional weapons or gear, and you can pick your loadout before you start the mission. And in addition to having a huge set of just single player missions, there's also contracts you can do, and there's a multiplayer. I think there's a multiplayer. I don't know. I never play multiplayer on my Vita, and I doubt any of the servers are still running. But it's essentially like a generic SOCOM game that you can play on the go. So I've been playing that when I don't have a lot of time. So if I'm just at a buddy's house or something, or traveling and just need to kill some time, I'll play that.
Yeah, with the short levels, that seems pretty nice. Again, tying it back to Marvel Snap, that's why I like that game. Those games are like 3 minutes max, and then you're out of it. So
yeah, and especially for handheld games, most likely you're in a situation where you're not going to be able to sit down and play like a long campaign or something.
Mm-hmm.
But when I am sitting down to play a long campaign on my Vita, I've been playing Uncharted Golden Abyss. So I think you're like me in that you've played probably all the Uncharted games on console. I loved all of them. First one was great, second one was great, third one was great, fourth one was so long. That game just went on and went on, but it was a good game. I have not played Lost Legacy yet.
I'm not even.
So I think you just picked that one up.
Yeah, I did. I actually just picked it up. I'm excited. I've heard good things. It's shorter, which honestly I want out of an Uncharted game at this point. But I've heard good things.
Yeah, I had the game when I finished Uncharted 4, but I needed a break. I was not ready to just jump into more Uncharted. But now that I've had a break, I told myself, let me go ahead and beat this spin-off game, Uncharted Golden Abyss, and then I'll move on to Lost Legacy. So when PlayStation first released the Vita, they put a lot of first-party support into it. They had a Killzone game made. They had this Uncharted game made. Like, they wanted to have some big, heavy-hitter AAA games on the Vita to really push the console.
All right.
So this is a full-blown Uncharted game. The graphics look very good. The only compromise that I see is that the levels are scaled down in size and a little more linear. And because they were trying to sell this Vita console with all of its different features, like it's got a touchscreen like a cell phone does. It actually has a touchscreen on the back of it as well, and it also has a gyroscope so it can pick up rotation. All of that is incorporated into this game. And it is a little gimmicky. And me personally, I've never really played a lot of mobile games, so touchscreen stuff is not, I don't know, it's not great to me. And especially when I'm playing a Vita, it's weird to be playing like a controller and then have to take your hand off and then do some stuff and then go back. Like, I kind of rather just keep my hands on it. But the longer I've been playing it, the more used to it I've gotten, and it's actually kind of fun. There's a lot of little mini games you do, and for actually climbing and stuff, because in Uncharted you're always climbing. You're always climbing mountains, ledges. That's a huge part of the game. So in Uncharted Golden Abyss, you just swipe your finger across the path that you want Nathan Drake to climb, and he'll do it automatically.
Oh, wow.
And it's actually real satisfying to just kind of like be leading him up a mountain with your finger.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, but I don't know, maybe like a quarter of the way through the game. Not sure how long the campaign is, but it is pretty cool. And that's part of the reason I initially got a Vita. I mean, I've since hacked the system and completely unlocked the huge potential of that handheld. But what originally drew me to getting a Vita was playing those big third-party games on a handheld. Because it's essentially, the graphics are pretty close to a PlayStation 3, so it's essentially like having a portable PlayStation 3 in your pocket.
I always tell people that it was so far ahead of its time. Like, if you look what is out now as far as the handheld, scope, like it would have thrived in this day and age.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first game I beat when I got a Vita was the Killzone game on it. And that, again, was a full Killzone game. 8-9 hour campaign. Played a lot like it did on console. Graphics were really, really good on that. And it had full multiplayer, team deathmatch, all that stuff. And then just be able to play it on your handheld. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway,
yeah, I think with the touch control aspect, I think the closest I've come to actually enjoying that and playing on something is my Wii U, because a lot of that you had that big old, it was the big old like controller that they had with the touchscreen in the middle, and you'd be looking up at the TV, but then you have to look down at the touchscreen too and do stuff, which was kind of annoying at times. But
Yeah.
it's about the extent of my my touchscreen long story-driven games.
Yeah, I think the takeaway that a lot of these hardware manufacturers have gotten from the PlayStation Vita or the Wii U is that, man, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, there's just... The video game controller has not changed much over the years because they got it right pretty early on. You know, of course, the Nintendo Wii came out and had motion controls, but that kind of was a fad, you know, that faded away after a while, and we're back to the same controllers from before.
Yeah, and the best controller on Nintendo now is their Pro controller, which is essentially just a standard controller that's very comfortable. I think it's better for companies to go after, you know, comfort. Just expand on the comfort of the controller and don't radically redesign it.
Yeah.
Which I think is what a lot of people done, and especially Xbox. Like, I love holding an Xbox controller. It's the easiest controller for me to hold and play games with.
Yep, same here. The Xbox 360 controller I still use to play PC games sometimes. I mean, I've since gotten an Xbox Series X controller when I want to play PC games with the controller. But man, yeah, that design is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And with the PlayStation Vita, other than those initial first-party games, most of the games released after that, especially by third-party developers that were not directly hired by Sony, don't use the touchscreen at all. Don't use the gyroscope at all. Don't use the touch pads on the back. They're just like, we're just going to make regular games that control normally on this system.
It's the same thing with a lot of those, like, gimmicky, like with the Switch, they introduced that. I don't know if you remember, they hyped up the HD Rumble, which nobody knew what the heck HD Rumble was. But it felt a little different, like, when you would play games with it. But now, like, they've completely abandoned it. I've never seen it used after probably a couple of their launch titles.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is that... I mean, I appreciate companies experimenting and trying new things because you never know what might take off. I mean, I remember when Rumble first came out on a controller. It was revolutionary, and every controller since, for the most part, has had Rumble. So you never know what might take off. But yeah, a lot of this other stuff, it's just... It's cool initially, and then the coolness kind of fades, or it's just a gimmick to begin with and just doesn't stick around.
Right.
Anyway, that's what I've been playing. Some old Vita games. Been having fun with those. But speaking of older games, to take it even farther back, this previous episode we talked about Cliff Bleszinski's book, Control Freak. And for those who don't know, Cliff Bleszinski is a game director who's made a lot of great games, including Gears of War, and he also worked heavily on the Unreal franchise, which the Unreal franchise is kind of dormant lately. I don't think an Unreal game has come out in over 10 years.
At least.
Yeah, at least that. But they were huge in the early 2000s. There was Unreal, Unreal 2, and then there was the Unreal Tournament games, which were multiplayer-only games. And they were first-person shooters. You had Team Deathmatch, Capture the Flag, other objective-based games. And the Unreal franchise just kind of had a style of its own. It was had a nice cool factor. It was almost like, especially the Unreal Tournament games, were almost had like a sport mentality to them. And today they'd be classified as arena shooters. And I played all of those Unreal games back in the day. Now, they're still around. You can buy those games on GOG.com, goodoldgames.com, and maybe some other digital distribution platforms. But Epic Games, the developer of Unreal Tournament, has released a statement saying that they're shutting down a bunch of servers for old games. So I've got the list of all these games here. Now, some of them I've never even heard of, like 1,000 Tiny Claws. I don't even know what that is. Others I'm not real upset about being shut down, but maybe other people would be, like Dance Central 1 through 3, Green Day Rock Band, Rock Band 1 through 3, the Beatles Rock Band. I know people love those games, so I'm sure there's plenty of people that are upset that those servers are getting shut down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in this list is basically all the Unreal games. So they've got Unreal Gold, Unreal 2 The Awakening, Unreal Tournament 2003, Unreal Tournament 2004, the original Unreal Tournament Game of the Year edition. All of these games are getting ready to lose their servers for online play. And it looks like this will take effect on January 24th of 2023. Now, this is devastating news to me. Granted, I haven't touched these games in years, and I'm sure the player base has dwindled to next to nothing. Just knowing in the back of my mind that I could go back and play these anytime I wanted to means a lot to me. So it's sad to see these go.
But I think every time where you get these kind of announcements, you're going to get an influx of players who are going to go play for this last month and a half, you know?
Oh, so yeah,
it may be a good time to dive back in and, you know, and say your last goodbyes, I guess.
Yeah. So it's not all sad news, according to this article. Now, there is a game called Unreal Tournament 3, which was, I believe, the last Unreal Tournament game that was released. And that came out, I don't know, maybe like...
I was in high school, I know, because I remember going to get it day one when it came out.
Oh, really? Did you get it on Xbox
Yes.
360?
I did. Yes. I don't know, it may have come out before... Did it come out before on PC, before consoles, or was it all in one?
You know, I'm not sure.
Yeah. But I know day one I got it on console, and I was in probably, you want to say, a junior, sophomore in high school. So at least like 15 years ago at this point. Like,
Yeah.
quite a ways.
That sounds about right. I think it was probably, if I had to guess, probably say like 2008 when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very good game. It was a big game on Xbox 360. The last time I played it was on PC. I own the game on Steam, and I think that was 2015, the last time I hopped online and played some online matches. Well, the game has since been removed from the Steam store, but this is only temporary. According to Epic Games, they have plans to bring back the online features. And it's going to be brought back in the form of Unreal Tournament 3X. So if you go to the Steam page, it's now listed, instead of being listed as Unreal Tournament 3, it's listed as Unreal Tournament 3X. And it says this title is currently unavailable and will be available in the future. Stay tuned.
Okay.
So I don't know how this is going to differ from the old version of Unreal Tournament 3 that was on Steam. But as long as we got an Unreal game that still has active servers, I'm all for it. This was a fun game. I probably prefer... My favorite's probably Unreal Tournament 2004, but this game is also great in its own right. And
Yeah, I think I definitely watched you play 2004 on PC, and I ended up getting a copy for PC as well because I wanted to mess around on it.
Yeah, that was a huge game. There was so much to do, so many different game types, and all those Unreal Tournament games came with the Unreal editor. So nowadays, every game, or not every game, but tons of games are made on the Unreal Engine. We have Unreal Engine 5 that just came out, powering tons of games on the new consoles. Before that, it was Unreal 4. Before that, it was Unreal 3 engine, which was powering most of the games on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, around that generation. So before then, if you bought a copy of Unreal Tournament 2004, you would get that Unreal Engine editor, so you could make your own levels, your own characters, your own mods. And the modding community went crazy with it. I remember total conversions of Unreal Tournament that would just turn it into a completely different game. People were making entire games just off of this editor that was coming with Unreal Tournament 2004. And I specifically remember a Star Wars themed mod that completely overhauled the game to a Star Wars game. And it was so good. It was...
Wow.
It was on the level of Star Wars Battlefront. Like I had Star Wars Battlefront and this mod at the same time, and most of the time I was playing this mod because it was that cool.
That's saying something, because the original Battlefront was a very good game. So
yeah, exactly.
That's definitely saying something.
Anyway, the best part about this news is that when this game comes back, this Unreal Tournament 3X is re-released, it's going to be free.
That's great to hear. I'm 100% diving back in once they release that. I want to try it out for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that you played Unreal Tournament 3 back on 360.
There was a bunch of my friends. We all got it day one and started playing it, and because I had always remembered from 2004 my appreciation for that one and how much I liked it. And when I heard this, like that one was coming out, I was like, guys, like these games are great. Like we got to play this. And
nice. I actually just recently, like I said, I already had the game on PC on Steam, but actually just recently picked up a copy for Xbox 360. And the reason I picked up a copy is because on the back of the box, it said it had split screen co-op. So the PC version doesn't have that. And I guess it said something about there being like an exclusive campaign mode that was only on the Xbox 360 version. Does that ring a bell at all?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even remember. I do remember playing a lot of the multiplayer aspect. I think that's really mainly what we did, but I'm not sure about that campaign, but that's interesting to think about now.
Yeah. The next time I'm in town and I bring a stack of split screen co-op games for us to play, I'll bring that one so we can check it out. For all I know, it could just be the multiplayer with bots, and then you're able to play split screen. But it's worth finding out.
If there are any story nuggets in it, that'd be kind of cool. So yeah, I definitely want to try.
All right, so the Video Game Awards happened last week, and I think you and I watched some of it after recording our previous podcast episode.
We did. We were really trying to get that Steam Deck that they were giving out, but unfortunately they went all to the bots.
Yeah, that was crazy. So for those who don't know, if you watched the Video Game Awards through Steam, because Steam was streaming it, they were giving away a Steam Deck every minute. And not long into it, it would display who the winner's name was. And not long after we started watching it, it was just bot after bot after bot, was not real people winning it. Somebody was able to set up some hack, and all of them were going to bots. And you could tell they were bots because it went from usernames like, I don't know, Steve the Shooter 34 or something to 1758329467845 It's just like these long string of numbers, and it was just that every time. So you knew they were bots. And weren't you telling me that Steam kind of did something to remedy that afterwards?
They did. Yeah, look, I just saw a tweet just recently before we went live here, and they gave away 170 extra ones. Since they phrased it that they were the success of the viewers that they had, they're gonna give away some more. But I think it was because they noticed that there was a ton of bots that were getting them.
Yeah. Dang. Well, during the Video Game Awards, which were super long, I didn't watch the whole thing. Usually they're like 3-4 hours long. But we did catch a lot of game reveals, which is always a great reason to tune in, because a lot of companies, that's their first reveal of whatever games they're working on. And I've pulled up a list of some, but not all, of the games that they revealed, mainly the ones that I think would appeal most to Mitch and myself. And Mitch, I don't think you've seen all these trailers, have you?
Not all of them, no. I've seen a lot of them, but no. I looking at the list, there were a couple that would be my first time.
Okay. Well, I definitely want to share this with you, get your opinion on them. I know some of these games are sequels to games that you've played.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I will share my screen with you, man.
All right.
Let's see here.
Yeah, these Game Awards are incredibly long. Jeff Keighley really knows how to talk, so
All right.
He milks it.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's what he gets paid for. He's gotta make the material.
True.
All right, so you were telling me about Hades 1, actually right before we got on this podcast. I had never played it. I'd never even heard of it. So do you want to kind of give me just a quick recap of what Hades 1 is before we watch the reveal for the sequel?
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually played a little bit of Hades 1 before we started, just because I knew we were about to watch this trailer again. So Hades 1 is a roguelite. So for those who don't know what a roguelite is, they're more of like a dungeon crawler where it's a run-based game where you are going through trying to reach an end goal or, a certain floor in a game to complete it. But if your character dies, you have to start all the way over at the beginning. So there's no auto saving, there's no saving, mid-run. If you're about to die, you're stuck. When you're dead, you start over. So in Hades, the goal is you're trying to get out of hell. So along the way, you get power-ups from a bunch of Greek gods who are, there to help you. And it's all randomized, so like you'll go through each room. There's multiple floors. I haven't beat it yet, so I don't know how many floors, but there's multiple floors. And throughout each of the rooms and on each floor, you'll get power-ups from Greek gods, or you'll get extra health, you'll get coins, which you can use to buy more health or upgrades or whatnot. And then you get keys as well. So the cool thing about roguelites is when you die, you have to start over, but you also get to power yourself up for future runs so that you get buffs that are always going to be there for each run afterward. So for instance, you can get keys throughout your runs on Hades to unlock different weapons to go in with to start. I think there's 4 or 5 weapons you can choose to play with to start. There's and they all have different types of gameplays, so it really keeps the game fresh. So there's a bow and arrow, there's a huge sword, there's this spear that you throw that if you could bring it back to you automatically. There's a lot of cool things. So I want to play more now. Seeing the Hades 2 reveal trailer, it got me excited, and I think it's something that you'd like too, Mike. It's a great art style, as we'll see in this trailer.
All right, cool. Let's check it out. Yeah, I have not watched this trailer yet. Supergiant Games.
Yeah, I'm shocked how fast they're coming out with this one too, because Hades 1 didn't come out that long ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's only been out for, I want to say, a couple of years.
So did you say it's a 2D game, right? Side scroller?
So no, it's not a side scroller. It is, I couldn't even tell you what the exact how to describe it, but it's kind of like going, because you can go north, south, east, and west essentially.
Well, this looks like purely a cinematic trailer.
It is, but this art style is really, it's the same art style of what you see in a lot of portions of the game itself. Obviously not the gameplay, but it's very close.
Oh, there we go. We got some gameplay.
There we go. Here we go.
Oh yeah, so that's considered an isometric game.
Okay, thank you. I could not figure out the name. So there's the example right there of when they meet a Greek god and you get a power up from them.
Mm-hmm. Man, that art style was popping.
Oh, it's so good. It's just as good on the first one too. I really like that they're going with like brighter colors on this one. I mean, it really pops on the first game, but I guess the color wise on this, there's a lot of more, I guess, not as dark. Like, obviously you're escaping hell in the first one.
Let's see, do they have a release date? Hades 2. And no release date. I'll have to wait and see.
Just impressed that they brought out a trailer in general.
Yeah. All right, so next up, we've got Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And you were telling me this is supposed to be the sequel to
Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order. Okay. Let's take a look at this one. Oh.
Which I have not played Jedi Fallen Order.
Me neither. I've got it in my massive backlog.
Likewise.
Okay.
Cinematics look excellent.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Usually Star Wars games are good more times than not.
Fallen Order got very, very positive reviews. People were nervous about it because EA's released a bunch of garbage lately, fumbling the bag with Battlefront, as we've talked about.
Yeah. I tried to play the reboot of Battlefront, and I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah, that just doesn't have the same feel.
Yeah.
But these games are more almost Soulsborne like, and they're
some cool looking enemies.
Absolutely
Nice sword play or lightsaber play. Yeah, that looks pretty fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I need to hurry up and play Fallen Order then.
Same. It's just, our backlogs. Who knows when we get to it?
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. You can slow down time. I always like that game mechanic. Whoa,
yeah, cool. Like scaling mechanics that they had in the first one as well. Kind of reminds me of like Assassin's Creed or even Uncharted in a way.
Yeah, this looks pretty cool. You can chop up the robots, cut their limbs off.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did it have a release date? I wasn't paying attention.
I did not see it.
March 17th, 2023. Oh. All right.
Pretty soon.
Not too far off.
Good for EA getting a win.
Yeah. Good job, EA. Got me hyped up about that one. All right, next we got Tekken 8. I have been on a Tekken collecting kick lately. I noticed that the prices of the original Tekken games was slowly starting to creep up. Before, they used to be really cheap. Like, you go to a used video game store, Tekken 1, 2, 3, 10, 15 bucks tops. And I guess they're getting, I don't know, they're either increasing in popularity or getting harder to come by. So I told myself, if I'm going to get the Tekken games, I better get them now before they're extremely expensive. Right. So I picked up a lot of the old Tekkens, and I played them back in the day. I think the main ones I played was Tekken 2 and Tekken 3. I don't think I ever actually played Tekken 1 back when it was first released. So after I purchased that game, I played it. And yeah, it's very bare bones and basic. I mean, at the time, I'm sure it was revolutionary, especially since it's one of the early 3D fighters. But it has not aged well. So if anybody's thinking about picking up the old Tekkens, I recommend getting the third one on PS1. So yeah, I picked up the PlayStation ones, I picked up the PlayStation 2 ones, and I picked up all the ones on Xbox 360. So the only ones I don't have are Tekken 7, the one before this. I've never played that one. And then, yeah, this one looks pretty cool. I played Tekken Tag Tournament.
That's the only one I own. It's Tag Tournament.
Yeah, that one's good. and the sequel to it too as well. But yeah, this looks pretty awesome. I mean, at this point, Tekken is so well refined after so many iterations of games that I can almost guarantee this is probably a pretty badass fighting game.
As someone who's not super into fighters, or I guess knows a lot about the fighter genre, is Tekken still considered like the mecca as far as, you know, all the fighters that exist right now?
I think it really comes down to who you ask, because some people are diehard Tekken fans, some people are diehard Street Fighter fans, and some people are diehard Mortal Kombat fans. I've always personally gravitated more towards Mortal Kombat. They've just been more intuitive to me as far as how they play. And I think they just have cool characters, love the fatalities, like the story to it. So it's probably those three are like the trifecta of fighting games. But then you got other people who don't play any of those and are more towards brawlers like Smash Bros. or other games. But a lot of my buddies that are really into fighting games, they play them all. They play Street Fighter, Tekken, Super Smash Bros., Mortal Kombat.
For some reason, I always just gravitated towards Soul Calibur, and I don't know why.
Oh yeah, Soul Calibur. Yeah, that's another good one. So speaking of, Tekken 8 was revealed, and Street Fighter 6 also had a nice reveal trailer. Although I think that was Street Fighter 6 was actually revealed before the Video Game Awards. All right, Street Fighter.
I do like the Street Fighter art style. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like cartoonish and over the top. Characters are huge.
Yeah.
Ridiculously huge. And Street Fighter, they have a habit of releasing a million versions of the same game. Like Street Fighter 2, I swear there's like 20 Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter 2 Turbo X, like just tons of iterations. And they do small gameplay tweaks, and they add additional levels and additional characters, or they speed them up and slow them down. I think Turbo just plays faster than the original Street Fighter 2. But
this one seems like they've added some open world elements to it.
What'd you say?
He's just kind of run. This one seems like he's like added some open world elements to it. Like he was just running around, like talking to people before he fought.
Huh? That's cool. But yeah, when I was
direction they're going with.
When I was looking to pick up Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter 5, I don't know. I get them confused. Anyway, I wanted to get like the definitive version of it. And yeah, they had released like 4 different versions. They had Street Fighter. I want to say it was 4. Ah, man, that's going to bug me now. Which one was it? I'll tell you in a second.
It's funny when some of these come full circle, because like Ryu got put into Super Smash Bros. I just think it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I remember that. All right, it was what the hell was it? Yeah, it was Street Fighter 4. So there was Street Fighter 4, there's Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, there was some other edition, and then there was Ultra Street Fighter 4.
Oh wow!
And the Ultra Street Fighter 4 is the copy, the version you want, because that has all the characters and all the maps, all the DLC. It's just crazy that they come out with so many iterations of their games.
Yeah, that is wild.
All right, we got a couple left. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. Did you ever play the first one?
I did a little bit. Was the first one on 360?
It was.
Yes, I did play a little bit of it.
Now, I'm excited about this one. This trailer looks really cool. Tons of enemies coming at you. You got a sword with a chainsaw on it. The creatures look like they're from the Aliens movies. Graphics look great. Although when they're actually showing the gameplay footage, the frame rate looks really bad.
Uh-oh.
Which is...
Hope that's something they buff out.
Yeah. Hopefully that gets smoothened out.
Mm-hmm. It looks really pretty though, man.
Yeah. Epic kind of has a Gears of War vibe, I think.
Yep.
2023. No solid release date.
Yeah, they're giving themselves some leeway that they...
All right, now, I'm excited about this one. This is Lords of the Fallen, like a reboot of it, even though that game's not that old.
Yeah, I never played it. I always wanted to. I haven't seen this trailer yet, but I'm going to give this one a go when it comes out.
Yeah, the monster design looks so cool in this trailer. I'm just loving the art style. I love dark gothic kind of horror art styles.
Yeah, wow, this looks great.
And again, I think it's a Souls-like.
Yes. Which I don't usually gravitate toward those games, but if it's in the Lord of the Rings world, I'm all in. I love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Yeah, look at all those monsters, man. Freaky looking. Yeah, they got some great artists working on their team.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is super unexpected, but man, a pleasant surprise, no doubt.
Yeah. All right, let's see if we got a release date on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is horrifying monsters. Lords of the Fallen. Just says wish list now on Steam. No release date. Wow. At least not in the trailer. Alright, Armored Core 6. I have been playing Armored Core since the PlayStation 1.
Wow.
When the PlayStation 1 came out, there were a lot of demo discs that were released. And I had gotten a hold of a demo disc that had a demo for Armored Core. And I think it was limited in that you had only certain mechs and weapons you could choose. But it had a split screen versus mode. And me and my buddies would play that demo nonstop. Because the cool thing about Armored Core is you can customize your mech, unlock new weapons, unlock new legs, arms, heads, bodies, whatever. And then you can put them together and then battle with them.
Were those the days where the magazine that you'd buy from the store would have a demo disc inside?
Yeah, that might have been where I got the demo disc from. I don't know. But yeah, I played that for hours and hours and hours. I've played some of the other Armored Cores. Only on PlayStation 1, though. I know they came out on PS2, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. Never played any of those. Just played the original couple of games on PlayStation.
I played a little bit. I think it was Armored Core 4. That was the one on 360, maybe? Yeah. I think I rented that from the video game store just to give it a try. I didn't play too much of it, but that was the first time I ever heard of this series.
So it's been around for a long time. It's From Software. That's a developer that makes it. So the same guys that make Dark Souls and Elden Ring, all those games, they got their start making other games, including the Armored Core series.
Really cool to know.
So it's cool they're bringing that back.
Yeah.
Sure, that'll be fun. All right, next up is Judas, which is from the creator of BioShock.
So excited. I love BioShock. It's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, and this looks very similar to BioShock. Kind of like a spiritual successor, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how it comes off with the art style.
Absolutely. You can tell it right off the get-go.
It's freaky. BioShock had this kind of beautiful horror aesthetic.
Yeah, you can see with the powers on the hands and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks very cool.
It's like it's gonna have a really weird story too.
Which I'm totally fine with.
Let's see, it's called Judas. Do we have a release date?
Like just a wish list now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, no release date. Just wish list now.
No.
All right, 2 more. We got Forespoken, and this is PlayStation 5 exclusive by Square Enix, or at least published by Square Enix. Now, this one looks really cool to me. It's very unique.
Yeah. Unique's the right word for it, for sure. I don't even know how to explain like what era it would be even in. It kind of mixes a lot of different
just kind of its own
time
world, I
periods.
guess.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's all powers. Like your character doesn't yield any weapons, but more so is just kind of like a wizard or a mage or something. Just
The
shooting energy from your hands.
At least what they're showing there reminds me a lot of Prototype, if you ever played that.
Yeah. Yeah, it just looks like you'll be casting a lot of spells and stuff for your attacks, and just weird enemy design. That looks real freaky. Oof. Yeah, I saw another trailer that had much more combat. Combat looks pretty interesting. So that's coming out May 24th.
Okay.
What? That can't be right.
2022.
Typo there?
Yeah.
Oh, no, this...
Oh, that's a 2021 trailer. They must have had another trailer for...
Okay, well, it definitely missed that release date. So I don't think it's out yet.
Are we shocked? No.
Yeah, all right. I saved the best for last. Now, this is likely not the best game out of all of these, but it is a Silent Hill-inspired horror game.
Have not seen this yet, so I'm very excited.
So I think this is made by a very small development team, if not only one person, if I remember correctly. And I think you can actually play a demo of this right now on Steam.
Wow. A very unlikely looking hero that they got going here.
Yeah.
Or protagonist.
So after this, I'll pull up the Steam page so I can kind of look at the description. But yeah, bizarre. It's called Post-Trauma.
Really good name for a game, though.
It's a bizarre psychological thriller. All right, let's look this one up on Steam. Post-Trauma Steam. So the description is, true horror lives in our minds. Post-Trauma is both a tribute to and a modern take on classic horror games, blending old-school fixed camera angles with high-fidelity graphics, smooth controls, and immersive soundscapes. Let's see. Play is Roman, a middle-aged train conductor, as he tries to understand and escape the surreal world he's trapped in. And let's see if there's a demo. Could have sworn there was a demo. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to pull it up in the actual Steam app. Anyway, that is it. Yeah, we went way over time. Another long episode.
And what time are we at right now?
We are at the 55-minute mark.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, we can...
That's all right. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, really, really was. All right. That is it, folks. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks for sticking around to the end if you made it. You can find all our episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Mitch, you want to give a shout out to all the other social media platforms you can find us on?
Absolutely, yeah. You can follow us on all our social media accounts. Our Twitter is @HillsAreSilent. Our Instagram is Instagram.com/HillsAreSilent. YouTube is @TheHillsAreSilent. And if you have any questions or comments, you can send them to our email, which is hillsaresilent@gmail.com. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye, everybody.